morning, everyone, from Palazzo Madama in Turin during the Planet Week. We are at the Digital Media Zone in Turin, and we are with Claudia Gaudiello, Purpose and Catalyst Strategist at Urban Air in Hong Kong. It's a pleasure to be here with you, Claudia. You have to know that Claudia has more than 25 years of experience in branding strategy. She has a particular experience and knowledge of the Asian region. I would like to start with a curiosity. How sustainability is perceived in the Asian region? Because sometimes we are too Eurocentric about this topic.
Well, naturally, we are based in Europe, so I expect that we are a little bit more Eurocentric. First of all, thank you for inviting me to this little sharing of experience. I think in order to understand the perception of sustainability in Asia versus Europe, we need to understand a little bit more about the compliance and the societal system. Clearly, Europe has the possibility, I would say, to have a bit of central orchestration in terms of policy and lawmaking, whereas Asia, it's more fragmented. However, on the financial reporting system, because many of the stock exchanges in Asia have already implemented the requirement of reporting, there is a lot more attention to sharing what corporations are doing. So probably corporations are a little bit more active than certain governments. Now, from a societal point of view, what we witness is clearly Europe is facing the outcome of industrialization and urbanization. Asia, particularly for many countries, is not there yet. And therefore, the growth and the necessity of the economy and the leveraging on economy is still a very strong drive, perhaps stronger than tackling environmental and social issues. Let's not forget that Asia, if we include India as well, accounts for almost half of the population. So tackling sustainability in Asia, it means to do it for a lot of people, out of many not yet having access to basic needs. So if in Europe we are a lot more sophisticated in understanding what it takes to be sustainable, in Asia there is the necessity to be aligned with the rest of the world, but at the same time also tackling the issue of poverty, lack of education, sometimes lack of fundamental resources for the entire population. So it's a bit more polarized, but technology and innovation is a much faster pace, I would say, than in Europe. So they can catch up very fast. And there is also the need of spreading awareness about the topic. And I would say across all different types of stakeholders. It's an anecdote, but a couple of days ago I just met a friend who lives in Bangkok, and he's an Italian as well, and he was sharing, luckily in here we do not have yet the trend of ESG arrived. So we don't need to do so many things, even on a daily basis, like waste disposal. We can just throw everything into one bin. And I'm like, that's not a good news. So there is a lot to do on the ground, but there is a lot of framework which has been implemented by the different countries. So again, we don't see an holistic approach as Europe has, but we certainly see a very aggressive approach in catching up and ensuring that everyone can have what it takes to be fundamentally in line and then to grow over that.
Thank you. You also co-founded Mini Greenie Heroes Project, a non-governmental, a non-profit organization that aims to educate young people about the SDGs. And I would like to ask you, what is the best way to communicate SDGs and sustainability to younger people?
Yeah, I just want to share just the little reason behind. I mean, we've been, myself and my partner, in the industry of communicating sustainability for almost 2 decades. And, you know, with so many different approach, with many different stakeholders, understanding what it takes to put the message across and to get it right. And then all along, the daughter of my partner, she was only 9 years old, and she was always exposed to our conversation and coming up with questions like, can you really end poverty? And, you know, how do we preserve the biodiversity of Hong Kong? And then you really wonder, like, how can I keep the hope high, but at the same time give solutions and make her understand? Because one day she and her generation will be the policymakers, will be the CEO, will be those who are going to change and impact on the world, right? So we decided that we wanted to engage in spreading awareness at first, and at the same time fostering a sense of collaboration, but also a sense of hopeful action. So what it takes, I think, number one, to break down complex topics into topics that can be relatable. We realize that there is a lot of detachment sometimes from the language spoken at a very high compliant and governmental level and individual level. Like, there is a lot of frustrations of people thinking there's nothing I can do. You know, and I always have this current saying, like, you know, if we have to multiply that nothing I can do by 8 million people, 8 billion people. So we wanted to be engaging, and we wanted to make it very relatable in understanding what it means, SDG, and what you can do to be part of this journey. So what we thought was, why don't we turn the SDG into individual heroes? So each one of them became a character who has its own voice and style and obviously mission. And it's quite humorous in a way, because, you know, when you're engaging with younger generation, you have to keep a little bit of that fun alive. And at the same time, I think what is very relevant is the possibility to bring this project on social media. I mean, we wanted to speak the language of younger generation. So you wanted to make sure that, number one, they can understand the topic. Number two, they feel related to the topic. And sometimes that means also putting in a context. You know, it's hard maybe for a child in Hong Kong to talk too much about desertification, whereas they will feel closer to marine biodiversity. So you got to give a local perspective and always bring it back onto a global perspective as well. And then at the same time, giving them the opportunity to take part in this and to actually contribute and to make their actions towards it, and feel a little bit of being a hero themselves. So, and we have deployed many different types of mediums, I would say. We started off with social media. We are now exploring more and more. I mean, we have been exploring for a long time already gamification to really draw more attention and more engagement, right? And then card games, storybooks, so everything that it takes to really allow them to understand, to know, and to act. And that's what we wish to see more and more. And we are always welcoming all different types of partnership who can really give content, contribution. We really believe that in sustainability, you can make things happen if you do it together. So togetherness is the key. And, you know, well, yes, there are many problems ahead of us, but there is also many solutions that we can find. So also keeping a positive narrative, not for the sake of being positive, but for the sake of always keeping the hope high and not thinking, well, this has got nothing to do with me and there is nothing I can do about it. Actually, besides the 17 SDG, we also have the villain of the story, who is called Bob the Garbage. A little man dressed in a plastic bag, obviously in a rubbish plastic bag. And he is the one, you know, the denier of everything. And at the end of the day, the biggest mission is to get him on board. If you can get Bob on board, you can get everyone else on board.
Thank you very much, Claudia Gaudiello. It was a pleasure talking
Thank
with you.
you.
From the Digital Media Zone in Turin, that's all. Stay tuned for upcoming content.